Welcome back to a new episode of FemFlex Friday, and today we are going to teach you how to win a show. We are going to dive into the mindset, all the preparations that athletes take to win a show. We also have a very special guest who has won many shows this past season. We have talked about her on our show in the past, and this is the first time she's going to be on set with us via Zoom. Amy Delgado will be coming on with us today as well. I am here with Miss Whitney Jones, Linda Murray, and Wendy Fortino, and let's dive right into it. So,
yeah, what are the tricks? Come on, how do we win a show?
All right, Whitney, this is how you're going to win your next show.
Done.
All right, so first, let's kind of break it down to steps. First, what is the most important aspect of winning a show? What is the first thing?
Confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's
And
the
you
most
got to kind of have a
important
body.
aspect?
Yes.
I would say consistency. Consistency at overall at all the things that we do. You just have to be consistent.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say your mindset, because the way that you dive into your goal based off of your mindset and seeing it happen is everything.
Because you can have the best physique, but if you're not having the right mindset for that, it's going to show. So I have a couple clips for you guys. And the preparation, how we prepare mentally is so important.
And on the cover it said, how Reg Park, Mr. Universe, became the Hercules star. That's what the cover story was all about. So I looked at the cover and I said to myself, I got to get this magazine. So I bought the magazine, I took it home and I read it over and over from the front page to the back. It had everything in there, how he trained, how he was working out in Leeds, England, in a factory town, how he worked out every day for 3-4 hours and became the strongest man of Europe, and how he won Mr. Europe, Mr. Great Britain, and then eventually Mr. Universe, and how he won the second Mr. Universe and the third.
Arnold is like one of the pioneers and one of the people that we first think about when it comes to mindset, but actually what he was just demonstrating, which is also really important, I think, is also understanding and having knowledge of the sport that you're in as well. So
You're doing your research.
You're doing some research, and for him, like that's really what kind of helped inspire him to start competing.
Greatness, my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
So
No,
then,
yeah, makes sense. It's a huge part of my journey.
yeah.
Yeah. Just,
Tell us.
Yeah, just knowing.
tell us.
I mean, all of the women that came before me, Carla Dunlap, she was the first African American, Corey Everson, Rachel McLish, and just I used them as my inspiration. And
What stood out to you the most in like relating them all together that really drew you to all of them? Aside from them winning.
I think for me, because it was so unique back in the day for a woman to be muscular, and I mean, and when you look at Rachel McLish and her muscularity and compare it to Corey Everson's, like we continue to build muscle and to kind of like be our own person and establish ourselves and be comfortable in our own skin. So for me, as a young woman, when I first picked up a magazine and I saw like a female bodybuilder woman, muscular, I was like, wow, that's different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was just really attracted to that. And it wasn't fashionable to do that back then.
Yeah.
Sure.
But that for me, it told me it was a certain strength in that
You had a
woman.
desire
Right.
to be
Yeah.
It was
different.
just unique. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's really interesting. So
So
was my
you
beginning.
really looked up to her, and she really helped inspire you to
Yeah.
achieve what you have
Yes.
achieved.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, so, that's why, again, I know the importance of the role that we play,
Yeah.
because for sure, the women of
Yeah.
my past and the women that that were currently competing. Because they had advanced to a certain level,
Yeah.
right? And their level of muscularity and leanness. And I knew that I had to go to that place.
Yeah.
Even though I really admired the physique of Rachel McLish. And the interesting part of it is I know with like Rachel, and as the sport progressed, some of the women had a little bit difficult time with the women that that came after.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, oh, that's too much.
Yeah.
But so I would say without question, they played a major role.
I look at winning beyond like the placing. I know we talk about this a lot, but the two of you are both Miss Olympia champions, you know? And the thing that's so awesome about you two is that when I look at you, the things that I admire the most about you aren't even the titles, you know? It's what you've done with those titles. Being the ambassadors and the leader, I visualize myself being that. And it doesn't mean that I'll necessarily get that ultimate like win, but I'm aiming for the things that I admire in you two the most. And it's I feel like in my own way, it's like landing me into the things that I actually am really after, which isn't the win is like, that's like the icing on the cake, right? But for you to have that platform, how is that? Does that make sense?
Honestly, though, it's like you don't have to have won an Olympia title.
Right.
You don't have to have won a show
Yeah.
to be a good role model, to be a
Yeah.
positive influence.
Yeah.
And I do think there's a lot of athletes that think, oh, I just can't say what I want. I can't be
Right.
an empowering woman to others and uplift them. And there's nothing further from the truth.
Right.
Yes,
And there's, in the
having-
meantime, there's a lot of people that are listening to what they're saying and what they're doing too.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
They just might not realize
you
that.
have an impact. Now, granted, we are very fortunate that we both have won the title. We've had, opportunities to share on a large platform. That's great. But there's not many people who will be at that top, so
Right.
that doesn't mean that others can't.
Right.
Representing who you are. And then guess what? That's sometimes where you start walking the walk, you're talking the talk, now you're winning shows, now you have that platform.
Yes.
So who says you have to get there before you can
Yeah.
have a voice or before you can make a true impact?
Well, and that's kind of related to that syndrome that what is that syndrome? We've talked about that in the past.
Imposter syndrome?
The imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So that goes into really, that's also the separation of how people, like when you talk to real champions who are winning shows and who are creating all this greatness, they don't suffer from that. They have a dream and they execute. So if you are saying like, these two, you have this platform, Whitney's saying you have this platform
Yeah.
too. It's kind of similar. So there's another clip here that I want to share with you guys.
The first rule of success is to have a vision. You see, if you don't have a vision of where you go, and if you don't have a goal where you go, you drift around and you never end up anywhere.
So very true.
Have a dream, have a
gosh.
goal.
Visualize it. Even before my first Olympia win, I literally felt it. Like I had
Yeah.
been on the Olympia stage before, but you know what the lights are, you know where the judges are, you know the audience. Like
You're visualizing
I
it.
visualized it for months
Yeah.
leading up to that day. And then for my division, we go and we do warm-ups on the stage. And I went
Yeah.
early. And I wanted it kind of to myself. And I stood there before I ever started my warm-up, closed my eyes, and I felt it. I felt it. Like, it was like I knew this moment was coming because you visualize it, you practice it. Every practice that I went into that gym, I knew what I was working for. And it, when you know it, you feel it, you know what you're working towards, you know every minute matters. That's how you really can tap into something so much deeper.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And then when it happened, it was like, oh my gosh, wait, this was always a dream, and holy crap, it just happened.
Yeah.
But you visualize it so
It changes
much.
your whole approach to the goal.
It does. It 100%
Isn't
does.
that crazy?
Well, and if you like, I will completely admit, like there was many times, especially earlier on in my pro career, when I didn't feel like I was worthy
Sure.
to win, and I felt like I could do it. And then as soon as I got there, like I just felt like I wasn't worthy of that, and mentally it holds you back. It's almost like you have to unleash.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to unleash yourself. And
Gosh,
like
you girls
yeah.
are just giving me some fire here.
Yeah.
good. You need it.
I do need
think it
this
is-
right now.
It's really
Like a
so
pep talk.
important for people out there to hear what you just said, Camille,
Yeah.
because I think that it's like, you make that goal, you set that goal, and you have to be really consistent because each of us, we doubt. I would have doubts. I would, want to pack it up and run when,
Right.
like, my legs wouldn't come, they weren't coming in the way I wanted
Yeah.
them
Sure,
to,
yeah.
or the tightness in my glutes. And I think the difference between a lot of athletes or anyone
Yeah.
that has that's accomplished something is that there are definitely going to be bumps in the road,
Right.
and they assume. Like, you have to be really passionate about that goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and the reason passion is so important, and really knowing that's what you want to do,
Yeah.
is because when something happens,
Yeah.
which it will happen,
Right.
somebody could pass away,
Yeah.
you could get a bruise
Something,
on your
yeah.
face. There are a lot of things that can happen, but with passion, you're consistent and you're persistent, and you get over those hurdles regardless. And a lot of people don't have the ability to be consistent and stay focused in times. As soon as something
Right.
happens, oh, I can't do this, or somebody's birthday party, I gotta go to the birthday party, I gotta eat
Yeah.
the cake, and the fact is it's consistency
Right.
and passion.
Yeah.
Passion. You have to have passion.
Well, and you have to, like you said, you're so right. And I think any athlete who says that they, stepped on a pro stage and had absolute confidence their first time, I think they might be kidding themselves.
Right.
It's easy to say, go
Yeah.
out there, be confident, know you're worth it.
Yeah.
My best advice is know it's going to be a struggle. Know it's a process.
Right.
But you've got to really look at what is it you're afraid
jump
of?
in the
What are you
lion's den.
scared of?
Yeah.
Because until you face it head on, you'll never get through that.
Yeah.
And you can never get to that point where you do have the confidence.
Yeah.
You look around and you're like, some chicks walk on that stage and you're like, wow, like they think they already won the show. And that's the way everyone should be, honestly. But how do you get there? You've got to face it. You got to face, what are you afraid of? What are you dwelling on? What are you doubting within yourself? And then you got to go knock that shit off and go, I
Yes,
did the work.
and get back.
Yeah.
But it's not going to take one time. It's
No.
a constant process of doing it every show, every time you
Every
step on
show.
stage.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere because we have a lot more tips to help you win your next show.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on Trifecta.
Welcome back. And before we go into this episode further, please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow all of our episodes on Olympia TV. So, Linda, you just brought us into kind of a next segment, which was consistency and having a passion. So I have a clip for you guys. Go ahead, play that clip, Nico.
I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live up to the light that I have. Abraham Lincoln. If you can take every opportunity you have to bring yourself closer to your goal, win every one of those opportunities, all while becoming more resilient in the process, how can you lose? That is an exciting opportunity. A never-ending reason to keep working and growing. With the intention not to accomplish goals, but to become someone who can accomplish any goal.
So Chris Bumstead was sharing that he was overcoming a lot of hurdles during his prep.
Yeah.
There was a lot of setbacks that he had, and he would question why he was going forth. So when he did his acceptance speech, he shared a lot of that, and he was basically just saying, do not stop fighting for your dream. If you have a dream, go after that. And you need to have, like, having some fear and having some of those emotions is good, but you've got to keep going. If you don't have that dream, get a dream to conquer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think having a dream is so important, and having it so clear to you of what you want to accomplish. We're all getting emotional here, because your mind is going to fill up with space, and that's the space that your mind has is going to be filled up with something. Okay. And if it's not filled up with a dream, it's going to be filled up with all the doubts and all the things that you feel like you're missing out on in life, right? So what I've noticed in the commonality between champions is that space is filled with the passion, the vision, the dream, all the goals. And when that is not filled with your passion, your vision, your dream, and your goals, it's filled with what you're missing out on. And, you know, how all your friends are doing things that you want to be doing, the food that you can't eat. And it is absolutely, what are your guys' thoughts? Do you agree?
Oh, agree completely, 100% on that one. At the end of the day, and this is the part that people want to put so much on the physical, you know, how many sets, how many reps, how much weight, how many calories, do you weigh your food, don't you, you know. When the foundation of this, it's about the mind. The mind and really controlling, because the brain is extremely powerful.
Right.
And it will tell you a lot of different things, and it's a constant. So you really have to understand that first, the importance of what's going on upstairs. And that's where that consistency is, and you know, just you have that plan, stay focused, stay consistent, day in, day out, minute by minute, hour, day.
Did you two always have that type of mindset? Because it's not an easy thing for
Or did you train for it?
the average person to have, to push aside any doubt you might have.
I mean, to be honest, I think I've shared this on a show before. I got into this sport out of a dare, randomly.
You haven't shared that with me
I have,
anyway.
well, yeah. So it was a dare, and it was just
Okay.
going to be like, someone said I couldn't ever do the sport, and I didn't know what sport they were even talking about. But I was like, you're wrong. But then I learned about the sport,
Dare
and
me.
did it, and it was just going to be one and done. But I loved it. I loved the challenge. I loved the science of learning about your body. But for me, my expectations were to go out, have fun, and literally be proud of what I presented,
Yeah.
because I'd been doing team sports growing up. Then I got into endurance, like marathon triathlons. That was
Yeah.
just boring. And then I found this, and I thought, this is a good challenge.
Yeah.
But, you know, then I get my pro card, and I was like, oh, that
Now
was
what?
kind of cool. Now what? What's this Olympia and Arnold thing? And so I'd watch it, and I'd be in the audience. Never thought I'd ever be on stage. So for me, I think my mindset was literally, it had never, and it still has nothing to do with the competition. I love the competition. I love a challenge. I want it to be hard. That raises me up. It elevates me. But it was always, before I walk on stage, can I look at myself in that mirror backstage and go, I did everything, and I'm bringing the best, and do I feel like I won? Because at the end of the day, that's all I really wanted.
Can I ask
so
you- I
the
wanna ask you a
judges
question.
can't give me that validation.
I want to know something from you, Whitney. Because now that you've experienced being the title holder 3 times, and you are such an awesome ambassador, you have a platform, you have a reach, you have all kinds of impact on people. Does winning the title back in your mind, does it hold with it like all of this is like what motivates you? Does it motivate you to maintain your platform? Because I think people think that you're motivated by the win, but I see you being motivated by the, maintaining this awesome platform that you have, and that being the driving force. Am I seeing that?
I mean, I'm very competitive. I love to win. This
Yeah.
sport is a little bit different, because you guys know we'll do challenges on here, and it's like,
Right.
I'm ruthless. I will win.
Yeah,
Like, I
no
am
one beats you.
diehard. But it's different, because this has to do, it's a subjective sport.
Yeah.
It has to do with your effort. So for me, honestly, it is knowing that I am juggling 800 things.
Yeah.
I'm older than every competitor on that stage in my division. I'm a mom, I have 2 kids, I have multiple businesses. I'm balancing everything.
Yeah.
To me, it's a win that I show up. It's a win that I continue to do my hours of routine practice when things hurt. It's not about like actually having that first place trophy.
Yeah. Right.
I've won and it's amazing and that can't ever be taken away. So it's showing up. It's showing that all these setbacks and that's why with Chris Bumstead, I love it. Nothing's easy for that guy.
No.
He's got a lot of stuff that's hard, but he's got grit and he wants to do it and he's doing it for him. And that's
Yeah.
honestly what it all boils down to. If you're not doing this for you, you're not going to win. If you're doing it for social media, recognition, if you're doing it to impress someone else,
Yeah.
it's not going to work out how you want.
I think
You've got to
it's-
do it for you.
It's cool because it's like people want to hear what I've noticed. They want to hear you say that, yes, I said on the beginning, I'm going to win the Olympia. Yes, I said, like, I'm a winner and I knew I was going to win and I knew I was destined. They really want to hear us say
They
that.
do, yes.
And then sometimes I would try to like tell that to make it a really good story. Yes.
Yeah, like
I was
last week.
determined. I came over and
Yes, is that how you wanted me to say it?
right. And
what
then
you
I
want me to
just
say?
start going, you know what though? They're really missing the understanding of
The why.
Like, yeah, and like sometimes it was like the losing of a show. It was so much in that. That was exciting.
Yes.
It was kind of really a lot of energy, and I was excited to be like, yeah, I like being like,
The underdog.
I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
Something to
This is
work for,
great.
something to
There's
fight for.
so
again.
many lessons in losing.
I like that
You've
a
got
lot.
to take.
This
a
is
look.
true.
You've got to go, why did I lose? How am I handling it? What can I learn from this?
Yes.
So that's how you win a show, is learning what you can do to change it, to improve. That's how you elevate, you level up. I mean, losing's not bad. I learned some of my biggest lessons in this sport.
Yeah.
By getting, a
And
knock in
winning,
the
some
face.
people aren't prepared for winning.
Yeah.
No.
They're not. They're really not.
No. Well, I have one more quick little video to show you guys, and then we're going to bring Amy on the show. So if you don't already know the mama mentality, you should, and this should be your morning mantra if you're needing some motivation.
I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for. There's a quote from one of my English teachers at Lower Merion named Mr. Fisk. He had a great quote that said, "Rest at the end, not in the middle." And that's something I always live by. I'm not going to rest. I'm going to keep on pushing now. There are a lot of answers that I don't have, even questions that I don't have. But I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going, and I'll figure these things out as we go, right? And you just continue to build that way. So I try to live by that all the time.
But Kobe is like he's like so motivational. And we had a posing clinic, and there was a bunch of athletes that were getting ready for their pro card nationals and stuff, and they were in their heads so much, and I was like, you need to right now it's all about your mindset.
Yeah.
It's all about your mindset. Find motivational quotes, Arnold, Kobe Bryant, and listen to what they're saying and what their message is. So we're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna bring Amy on, and we're gonna talk to her about her mindset and how she's won all of these shows this past season. Welcome back, everybody, and we are so excited to introduce you to Amy Delgado, Bikini Pro. She was 4-time qualified in these big shows for the 2023 Olympia. Amy, welcome to FemFlex Friday.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. How are you guys doing?
Oh, great.
So we've been talking about a champion's mindset. So you are no stranger to winning and having that confidence. Tell us what you go through and what prepares you mentally for your shows that you have won and all your success.
Okay, so let's start with the off season. So the off season, you have to really make sure that your mindset is really structured into there is no in or off season. If you're in and off, you have to always be on and always make sure that you're doing and putting as much effort as if you were in prep, because that's where all the muscle foundation is built in the off season. So if you're not putting all that that attention in as you were in prep, then that's where you can really have those, have a harder prep, especially if you don't have the muscle and you have to get leaner. So take that time in the off season, take that time to really create those good habits with yourself, so that whenever you get to prep, it'll be an easier, smooth transition, and it'll be more enjoyable, because you don't want to kill yourself. You don't want to stress your body out too much. You want to enjoy it just like as much as you're enjoying your off season. But again, giving yourself that flexibility in off season, but don't go off too far with the meals and the enjoyments and everything. If you want to turn pro, if you want that Olympia title, you got to stay focused year around, and that's what we've managed to do. So going from the off season into prep, the transitions are smooth just because Jamie keeps me pretty on my toes. Checking in with her even in off season every week is very important for us too. Holding ourselves accountable. Going from show to show, the biggest thing, I used to put so much pressure on myself, so much pressure to win the show, or so much pressure as in like, this is my only shot. I really took a step back and focused on like, why am I putting focus on the things that I cannot control? So let me put the focus on the things that I really can control. So the moment that, and this was actually after my first Olympia, where I put a lot of pressure on myself.
What year
and I
was
said,
that? Your first Olympia?
I'm sorry?
What year was your first Olympia?
2022.
And you placed sixth place there.
Yes.
Okay,
Not too shabby.
No.
No,
Yeah.
that's great.
It was incredible. But before that, I put so much pressure on myself because I wanted to get into that top 10, because, that's what you want to go on to the big stage, And then, but I was like, no one's expecting me to get top 10. This is my first Olympia. Let me just take all that pressure off. And when I did that, I was able to relax. I was able to enjoy the moments with other people and have fun. And I feel like that helped me so much. And then so when I placed sixth, I was so over the moon. And I was like, okay, this is what it is. This is what it is. It's not about focusing on the placements. It's not about that. It's about focusing on those details and as far as the feedback, like there's always something you can improve, presentation, your look. So if you put your focus on every details in those aspects, that's how you can't really, freak out over the placings, because you're focused on what you need to do to bring your best. And ever since I got that after competing at the Olympia and experiencing, wow, I took the pressure off and this was the outcome. That's where I learned that my biggest lesson that I learned was to really focus on what matters and what's most important, and not what you can't control. And it'll all fall in place. It'll all come to you as long as you're listening to your coach, and you're listening to the judges, and you're asking questions, and you're using your environment and the support around you and the people around you to help guide you, because it's a team effort. Yes, we're one person, but it's everybody is around me that is helping me get to that big stage.
So
Amy,
when did you start competing, and when was your first win? Tell us about it.
Okay, I started competing February 22nd in 2020. I remember it like it was
my birthday.
Oh, that's your birthday.
That's my birthday.
That was my first.
Okay, so
my first show was
Yeah,
here.
great, Amy.
Yeah. So I did my first show in 2020. Of course, I didn't know what I was doing. And so once I decided, I was like, I want to put more efforts into it. And that was when I found Fit Body Fusion. And then I joined Fit Body. And that was when I actually got to really, really thrive because of the community that they provided with everything and the coachings everyone at every show. So that's where I really thrived. I felt like I was comfortable and happy, and it was great. I went to my second national show of December the same year, 2020, at USA's, where I received my pro card. And we won the overall over there.
Okay.
I was
was-
there. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I was honestly the smallest one on the stage.
Really? Yeah. But
Yes,
everything
I
was
was-
perfect. Like literally perfect.
Yeah, I
Wow.
had good conditioning, good posing. The presentation was, I really thrived, on stage. I don't know, maybe it's my past with cheerleading, but when I'm on stage, that's where I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable. When I'm not on stage, I don't feel comfortable. I'm like, now, but the moment I'm on there, everything
You're a
is just,
gamer.
Yeah.
yes. Oh, thanks. So it all comes together. So yeah, I was the smallest one on that stage, and I remember my coach whispering in my ear. She's like, "Amy, you need to pose like your life depends on it, because you're the smallest one here. But you need to spread your lats, and you need to pose because you don't, and all this stuff." And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna try my hardest." And so we posed, we presented like a beautiful package, and we were rewarded for that. So that was the start of me actually branching off and actually doing this, and I can do this.
That was a huge accomplishment when I think about the USA, because this was at the USA.
USA
Like
overall is
the
big.
number,
Yes.
like today,
Yeah.
what's the number
Oh,
of
man.
bikini, in that?
It's a
That was
lot
a
of
big one
girls.
too.
Well, I mean, each class has like around 50.
That's what I'm saying. Each class.
Yeah, and they're all.
Yeah.
So
dialed.
that is
pretty big.
so when people talk about the numbers of pros that we have now in comparison to the way it worked back in the day, I'm like, listen, the numbers were huge.
Yeah.
So whoever this person is that walked away and
Right.
won that USA,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they earned
she's
it.
a badass.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's badass.
She's a badass.
Thank you. Yeah, it's when I first started, and I felt like this carried me a long way, getting my pro card, because getting your pro card, it's stressful, it's hard, it's tough, and it's a lot, and you want it so bad, and you can really put a lot of pressure on yourself. And I was lucky enough to not put my eyes too much into the sport too much to see who's who what they're looking for too much, but I just said I have a coach and that's all I need. And so I really just adopted that mindset where be more obedient and do as you're told. And I didn't look left, I didn't look right, and I had no stress going into all those shows. But because I was a little bit more naive and not putting myself out there too much, but putting my head down and working. And I feel like that helped me a lot, not stress.
That's a
And then
good tip.
once I turned pro, I was like, okay, then I started stressing out about everything. And then I had to go through all those emotions and really learn how
All
to
over
control
again.
myself under pressure and knowing what's important and what's not.
That is a hard thing to do. So let's skip forward to 2023, where all you did was win. You just won
All I
all
do
the
is
way
win.
through.
All I do
is win,
So
win, win, win.
at 2022, you said your mindset kind of changed, where you just kind of were like, I just want to break the top 10. You kind of took some pressure off, and you did, and it kind of changed your mindset moving forward. So tell us about how you felt going into the shows that you won in 2023, because you won some big shows: New York, Pittsburgh, Wasatch. What was the other one?
Clash.
Clash.
Pittsburgh.
I mean, these
Yeah,
are big
yeah.
shows,
Big shows.
for the bikini.
Yeah.
And how did you do that?
When it comes to my body, for some reason, I just trust it so much and I rely on it so much. And I am like, if it involves me physically doing something, I have a lot of confidence because, growing up, I struggled a lot with school. My family didn't have a whole lot. So when it comes to, book stuff, I feel like that's where I kind of lack a little bit. But when it comes to my physical, cheerleading in the past, I've always started at the back and I said, I want to be the front. So I figured out how to get to the front. And that took me going to flight school. That took me doing extra classes, took me getting flexible. And girl, I made myself to point flyer at year 3. And it's
giving me
crazy because
chills.
year degree, I'm winning shows. And so, and
Wow.
I feel like that discipline took me to where I'm like, wow, if I really work with my body, it'll do what I want it to do. I just have to apply the steps. So when I learned that back when I in my younger years,
That's
I applied
amazing,
to
amazing
here.
advice.
And whenever I did my first round of pro shows, I was placing top 10 in my first round of pro shows. And I was like, I know that I can do a lot better than this if I just apply myself and do these steps. So that was whenever I made a little bit of changes, and I got with Jamie DeBernard, my current coach. She literally changed my life because she changed my mindset. She changed the way I carry myself, the way, and all this pressure I was putting on it all those before I was with Jamie. And she really took me and had me take a step back and say, this is not what we should be focusing on. This is what you need to be focusing on. And the biggest thing when I switched to Jamie was my training. I have never, ever been under an Olympic barbell ever before, Jamie. I never did a back squat under a barbell. I only did a Smith machine, I've only been under machines. I was so scared to do compound lifts, and I never lifted more than 25 pounds at all. I never tried, mostly because I didn't know what I was doing. I was mostly following my coach's plan, to a T. And then so Jamie kind of analyzed everything, and she's like, okay, these are the areas that we can improve on a lot. And this is what we need to really put our focus on. So she guided me on to how to train properly. She had me get an in-person training coach. And we did all that. We built some good muscle. We learned how to train properly, effectively. Because I think I was training where I was kind of eating at my muscle, not because I wasn't lifting, heavy
Well, you
enough.
said you were at the USA's, you were one of the smallest, but honestly, I think you have some of the best, most muscular legs in the whole bikini division. now.
Yeah.
That's from cheer. So I love that's my cheerleading background. I have nice quads, nice full leg muscle and calf muscle and everything because of my years from all the cheerleading. But really, we just had to really analyze my plan and set a good game plan in place. But the biggest things was the training and my mindset. If I didn't have those two, I would not be thriving in the way I am right now. So it was really just making those changes that was right for me, who fit best for me, and then applying what I needed to do just to continue to get better. And that's all we did. And we just really had good communication. I call her whenever I need to. I keep a good environment around me. My husband is so supportive. He lets me shine, and he doesn't even care to say, hey, I'm right here, So I have a really, really good people around me. And I think that's so important. And that's why I've been able to thrive. And going into this year's Olympia, it's a whole different feeling than last year. I feel very confident. I feel excited just to continue to present myself because, these were some big stages that I've been on, but it's the exact same it's just a different name.
Yeah.
And so whenever I learned that big lesson at the Olympia about the pressure and only focusing on what you need to focus on, that's why I was able to keep my head on straight and make the changes every single show. And the changes that I was able to make, they were quite big changes. Like I came back with different physique changes every show that the judges asked me because I was like, I need to channel everything into this. Or if I don't, it's going to break me. So, it's really just the learning lessons and just taking those and really applying them, but also having that support to apply them and making sure you don't go backwards.
Amy,
Yeah.
I know we're almost having to wrap this up, but I have to ask because you've given such valuable tips.
Oh, yeah.
And we have a lot of newbie athletes who've never hit the NPC stage, and then we have seasoned pros. But I feel like you have this amazing mindset going into the shows.
Yeah.
When it's show day, when you're on deck and you have 1 minute before they call your name to hit the stage, what do you tell yourself? What advice do you have for someone who is nervous, or what have you found works in those last moments before you are right in front of the judges' faces?
Oh my God, this is a hard one for me because I can tell you that I don't focus on anything that's not important. I focus on I guess my mental energy and how how I'm feeling within myself. And it's more about what's around me, like who's around me, making sure I'm protecting my happy, I call it like a happy bubble. Like I allow certain people in my happy bubble and I don't let anyone else in. And that also involves on
Happy
show
bubble.
days. So I just make sure I am good and I'm in a happy place and I don't let anyone affect that. So I just kind of keep to myself a little bit, but there's no work to be done. I think that's just the biggest thing is just to make sure you're ready when you go to that show so you don't have any doubts. And then whenever your heel hits the stage, just be happy that you made it and be proud and just go out there and be happy that you're there to experience, to learn, to grow, because that's the only way that you can get better.
Well
Yeah.
said.
Amy,
Well
you're-
said.
Yeah,
That was
you're very inspirational, and it's been so nice to actually have you on our show. We've talked about you a lot, like I said earlier, and we really appreciate this. I think our viewers will get a lot of valuable insight from you. Yeah.
Yeah, you have Miss Olympia written all over you.
You do, girl. You do.
Heck yeah. Woo, good guy.
So that's so exciting to hear. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Yes. Well, to all of our viewers at home, please be sure to follow Amy and her journey. Be sure to like, subscribe, and watch all of our FemFlex Fridays on Olympia TV. We appreciate you stopping by. Until next time, we'll see you later.